Welcome, students. Today we're going to take a look at a short story called Escaped, and we're going to model the reading comprehension strategy of questioning. What questioning is allowing yourself to actively think and wonder about things as you read. I'm going to model, as I read this story for you, or part of the story for you, I'm going to model what I would be wondering, what questions I would be asking while reading this story. I'm going to read a little bit more than half of it, and then you're going to finish up the second half on your own, doing your own questioning. So, starting the story. The rain was falling heavily. It was like driving through a thick curtain of water. He eased off the accelerator a little. Had to be careful driving on wild nights like these. I would stop there and I would wonder, why is he out driving on this terrible weathered day? That would be a question that I might have. Continuing on. The last thing you'd want to do is to have an accident or break down. You just want to be home on these stormy nights. The thwack-thwack of the windscreen wipers was hypnotic. He stared out into the glow of the headlights. The rain sounded like white noise interference as it battered the car. He was reminded of the opening scenes of a Hitchcock film. I would ask myself, who is Hitchcock? I think he might be a horror film maker. So that's kind of setting the mood of this story. I wonder if this is a horror film or a horror story. Through the wash of the rain, he spotted a figure at the side of the road. The person wore a green parka and had their thumb jerked out. Why on earth would anyone be hitchhiking tonight? Surely you would just stay put until morning. They must have been in a rush to get where they were going. He signaled down and pulled over. The hitchhiker climbed in. He shut the door quickly, glad to be out of the rain. He pulled his hood back and sighed. He was somewhere in his mid-20s and had wild red hair and a thick beard. I would stop there and wonder what on earth this person is doing out on a stormy night hitchhiking. And also, I wonder why the person stopped to pick him up. It doesn't seem like a very safe thing to do. Awful night, eh? Said the driver. The hitchhiker held his gaze for a long moment. Drops of rainwater trickled down his face. Yes, it is. The driver pulled out and continued through the storm. The hitchhiker glanced over his shoulder into the blackness behind them. You okay? The hitchhiker simply nodded. They drove on in silence for a short while, the BBC radio phone in blaring out from the car's speakers, filled in for conversation. They listened to the radio and their own thoughts as they moved on. Where are you headed? Asked the driver. North, the hitchhiker pointed. Are you traveling to visit friends? The driver couldn't tell if that was a yes or a no. He adjusted his tie nervously. The hitchhiker stared at him in his suit and tie. The hitcher seemed scruffy in comparison in his parka and Pink Floyd t-shirt. Do you work around here? Asked the hitcher. Yes, said the driver. I was stuck late at the office. You know how it is. No, not really. Again, they drifted into silence. The talk radio show carried on as they drove through the wind and rain. The hitcher shifted in his seat and stared out the windscreen. No music? The hitcher asked. What? Is there no music we could listen to? I like to talk radio shows. I'm not really a music fan. The hitcher's eyes glazed over for a moment. Then he spoke. I like listening to music. It calms me down. The driver said nothing. Several miles later, there was a news bulletin on the radio. The reporter tried to remain professional as she read the announcement. We are getting reports that a patient has escaped from a Manchester psychiatric institution. The man is said to be psychopathic, and he is said to have a history of murder. At this point, I would be stopping to wonder what danger is about to happen here. Apparently somebody has escaped. We've got a hitchhiker out on the road. It seems like something intense is going to happen. I'm wondering what that is. I'm excited to read on. But that is going to be your task. You pick up the story there and finish reading this story on your own. What I want you to do is write down a few questions that you think of as you are reading. These questions are basically things that you wonder about, right? You're not trying to write a quiz, make a quiz like you're a teacher, asking about what happened in the story. These are just things that you're wondering, actively thinking as you are reading what it is you're wondering about. So take a couple minutes, finish reading this story. It is quite short. Finish reading it, find out what happens, jot down a couple of questions, and we'll talk about those when we meet next. Thanks, and we'll see you then.